Hi everyone, welcome back to our short videos on business studies. Hope you're faring well so far with the short lessons that I've been putting on YouTube for you. We are in the topic of human resource management, AS to be more specific, and today we will be looking at staff morale and welfare. Whenever you see this picture, you're like, oh, not again. But yes, we are recapping what human resource management means. It is the process of a strategic approach to ensure that an effective management of the workforce. So the word effective management of the workforce is what HR does, right? To ensure that from the point of hiring someone, training someone, developing someone, right, to the point where they decide that it's time for them to leave the organization, that becomes the role of HR specifically. That is what we mean by the strategic approach, right? So that the organization can become productive and can remain competitive. Okay, so what does it mean when someone has a very high morale? Okay, and what does it mean when one's welfare is well taken care of? Okay, so in a very short summary, if someone is well, having a high morale, which means they're very highly motivated, they're happy, they're excited about the company that you're working for, right? And of course, if their welfare is well taken care of, that their needs in the company, the basic needs of perhaps a good medical coverage or the counseling or the help provided by each department, right, to make sure that they feel at home. Okay, these are things that causes a person to be happy, right? And HR looks at that very seriously, the term morale and welfare. Hence you see a group of happy people jumping off the ground, okay, to show you how happy they are, right? Now, let's look at some explanation here on the screen. Okay, so in between joining a new company and leaving the company, whether it's for their own reasons of their own or whether they have been terminated, right? HR plays an important role of keeping employees motivated, okay, by identifying what causes them to be happy, what doesn't make them happy, right? And just a bit of a recap, when I mentioned this, you may be going back to motivation and the various types of theories that we learned about people and what caused them to be motivated and not, right? And why would HR want to do this? Because they want to ensure that people are at their peak at the job, right? So they would like to reduce the gap between satisfaction and dissatisfaction, right? So that employees, sorry, remain happy, right, motivated. And of course, when this happens, they want to stay on longer with the company, they want to deliver more, they become more productive, right? So these are all really good reasons when a staff's morale and welfare is well taken care of. Okay, let's get into more specific ways on what HR can do to boost, or what HR has been doing, and probably there are more innovative ways that they can do to boost morale and provide welfare benefits to their employees. Okay, one of the things that most companies do is to ensure that they have the basic health and safety guidelines in place, right, to cater to the organizational needs, especially in environments where health and safety is, health and safety is always important everywhere, but in a very dangerous factory where you are dealing with dangerous chemicals and gas and equipment for that matter, right? So HR ensures that the policies for health and safety guidelines are implemented, all right? Equipment, suits, and things like that are provided for employees. They are trained on how to work in the organization, especially in a very dangerous factory, right? Besides that, HR also looks at talking to the management of the company to ensure that everyone gets a basic medical coverage, right? Medical coverage such as having a simple medical card would make someone happy because they would not have to fork out their own money when they visit the clinic or to see a doctor, right? And at the same time, besides providing the external stuff, there's also the very internal stuff where people, well, can't really be bought with money, but it can be bought with time, in the sense where there's someone listening to you in case you have a problem. HR tries to do that with their employees, trying to understand and listen what is not said, because sometimes it's not about the coverages or the the benefits, but it's also about what they feel deep inside. And HR provides that sounding board for them to listen to them and to provide feedback, or to give them solutions, or to help them find solutions to their problems. Okay, but bear in mind that HR is not a a therapist or anything for that matter. All right, what they do is they try to understand. All right, and it helps for a HR personnel to have a bit of that empathic feeling, empathic way of doing things, right? Because then you'll be able to identify when someone's not very happy, and you'll be able to try and pull that out of them, to see what you can do as a company to help, if the solution is within the company's means, of course. Yeah. Now, besides that, let's look at what benefits employees will gain, right? If there are things like this, or there are items and ideas by HR to help boost the morale and welfare of the employees, right? Definitely you have a great or increased physical and mental health. Well, for one, if you have, if there's a proper guideline on health and safety, and there is, of course, someone to listen to share your problems with, and to basically bounce off ideas with you, then the mental health of a person is a much more healthier one. All right, increased motivation and productivity. Of course, they do not have much stress anymore, and of course they will also try to find, or they're able to find a little bit of that work and health, or a work-life balance. Now, what is a work-life balance? I'm sure you've been hearing about this a lot these days, and even before this. Now, to find a balance between work and life, or is basically to ensure that work does not take up most of your time, and there is still some time for you, or your time for me at the end of the day when we get back from work. Right, so companies these days are trying to implement that across all employees, to say, you work for a certain time, yes, you go back, please switch off and focus on your family, or relax, or go for that yoga that you wanted to go for months, you've been registering but not really attending. This is the time to really do it, to really have time for yourself as well, because when you do have time for yourself as well, you would be able to come back to the office even more productive and better than before. Right, so these are some of the benefits gained from employees due to a very high, having high morale and high or good benefits, in terms of when they know that their welfare is well taken care of, they have that ease of mind. Right, they have that less stress, worry thing going on, and that makes them happy and motivated. Now, this is a very interesting picture about four individuals, of course, from different backgrounds, right? Basically, having their arms around each other and seem to be happy, right? Now, what we're talking about today, now, at this point of time, is about policies for diversity and equality. How is this related to staff morale and welfare? It is a big part of it. All right, because companies who promote, or who also have policies available to promote diversity and equality, telling people about their company where they accept and welcome people from different races coming together, and they're not really looking at the color of your skin or where you come from, but what you are able to put on the table. Right, so therefore companies who have these policies in place, and not only putting policies in place, but supporting diversity and equality, it's one of those top marketable or marketing tool as well, to publicize about your company and to make sure your company is known. Right, and so there are various ways in terms of measuring equality, but the most common one when we look at it is when we talk about having gender, race, age, and religion. Right, so there is a balance between, or not a balance, but you have a good amount of female and male workers in the company, and they all come from different races most of the time, right, different age groups. okay, as well as religion. So it's not confined to just one particular race or religion, but you have a variety of people working in a company. And what is this supposed to do? All right, besides making, besides having the company, putting up policies like this and showing that they are a multicultural diversity, and equality company, it's also about attracting the right people to the job, okay, and people from any race or any skin color would be able to feel free in applying for a particular job, knowing that the company supports it. Because as we are well aware, discrimination still happens, racism is still there, right? But putting this out there that we are open to all colors, religions, and races, then it makes it easier for anyone to apply for a job, knowing that they will not be discriminated, right? And you attract the right talents for the job instead of the right skin color or the right, race, right? You're looking at everyone as one, no matter where you come from, and that is always a good way for a company to see things and to do things, right? And to be able to pick out great talents rather than great skin color or great race or religion. Okay, now let's move on to talk further about policies for diversity and equality. So let's look at, what we have explained just now in a very, in a recap manner right now. So HR will look into ensuring staff are motivated through the policies and procedures it sets for diversity and equality. Now, anyone applying for a job, knowing that the company supports such, inclusiveness towards diversity and equality, that will help them keep them happy and motivated throughout working with the company as well. Okay, diversity and equality helps the organization attract the best candidates, and it also helps ensure that the organization, avoids charges on discrimination, and it's also a tool for marketing and promotion. So companies can actually use that to their advantage, right? When they are not only doing it, of course, they should not be only be doing it for those advantages, but by being a company that promotes diversity and equality, then indirectly the publicity that goes out is that company A is all about people from different races and religion, and it doesn't really matter as long as you deliver. All right, so these are some of the benefits of having, policies in place for diversity and equality, where it shows the company looks at something above and beyond what is, in front of them. Okay. Now, let's look at the next slide, and there you go. We have the summary slide where there are some questions that will be put out at this slide for you to help with your revision later on. Okay, so based on today's lesson, you should be able to answer why staff welfare and morale is important. All right, what does it mean by work-life balance, and why are policies for diversity and equality important in a company? Okay, so some of the key questions here. Of course, as I always mention, it's important to look at beyond just the materials on the video, but to, supplement them with more reading materials or textbooks or notes from class, so that it is enhancing your memory and of course your comprehension of what you're learning. Most of the time it's not just about memorizing, but it's more about understanding, so that you are able to put it out in words that you are comfortable with, right? And yet it brings the meaning to your answer. Okay, so these are the three questions. Okay, so looks like we have come to the end of today's lesson on staff morale and welfare. Okay, now if you have questions you'd like to ask, then the email is teach@savage.com.my. You can send me an email to tell me, I need help in so and so, or I have questions to ask in relation to what you have presented earlier, or something like that. And don't feel shy to do that. And besides trying to like or subscribe or comment, this is another way for you to reach out to me. And if you have any other, you have friends who would want to benefit from this video, please do share with them. I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much and have a great day ahead.